Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So this is the original Battle of Five Armies. You can see by Aries, it's a really big box. This underneath it is the Collector's Edition of the Battle of Five Armies. So the other one's a regular box. This has a nice box that comes inside of it. And then when you open this up, you're going to have a magnet that will show you kind of how this is. And you're going to have multiple trays inside of this. You have collector's artwork you can put up. And then you're going to see just piles of miniatures in here. So what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to take this to the side. I'm going to try to give you a side-by-side comparison of most of the components between this collector's edition and the regular edition, so you can have an idea if this is worth the upgrade to you. This side over here is going to be the rulebook and player aid for the regular edition. This will be the collector's edition. Although this looks pretty much the same, the feeling of this is different. This feels like really nice linen paper. It's very thick, very nice. This has more like a glossy feel to it, but the content appears to be just about the same. It's just the feeling of the paper and the quality of that paper. Here's where the main difference between the rule books are going to be. This is going to be your regular rule book. Very good if you played War of the Ring. Pictures, full color, picture of the components, everything is very, very good. This is going to be a book, and this is a hardbound book. You have your little thing if you're reading through it, and it's just going to be a nicer presentation. Everything in it appears to be the same. Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of differences. You will have some things here in the back. Let's see. You can see here the index, the great bats, the additional rules, victory conditions. Looks like there's some additional content in here with the fate of Erebor. Additional rules here. They're going to go back into the victory conditions. But this is a nice hardcover book. You have your bookmark here. Very nice compared to it is a regular rule book. So here's the difference between the two categories here. So over here is going to be the regular version. You can see it's quite a bit smaller than what you would get with the collector's edition. So these are going to be very big cards with a lot of the text on them. The font is going to be bigger, as you can see here. And you're going to have, I think the cards are all the same, but you can definitely tell here that the size difference and the magnitude of some of these cards are just a lot larger. The pictures on them are going to be bigger, as you can see, and they're going to be a lot nicer and feel nicer in your hands. So there's definitely going to be an aspect to the game that is going to stand out here if you want the bigger cards and a nicer production. You can see here that, let's see, the artwork is exactly the same. You're just getting a larger and nicer version of it. The card quality feels about the same. I don't feel like there's any difference. This part of it's all going to be about size. Should also be noted the collector's edition comes with these giant artwork pictures that you can have, and you can see the board is printed on the back of it. So you're going to get the bear, I guess this giant orc, which you're going to have a picture of all of the components on the back of this one. And then you will have the fighting dwarf on this one. And you can see the pictures and the components that are listed here. So you actually have pictures of all of the components on the back of these. These will actually be kind of dividers inside of the box, but you can also just frame these and put these up. They're beautiful works of art. So this is how I preferred to store my regular version of Battle of the Five Armies. This will be a little piece here. I have my little miniature dice that are in here. I have my custom dice, and I have all of the components that are in here. I do have, mine are all painted up. They don't normally come this way, but you can see it all kind of fits really nicely in here. You're going to have the giant bear, which is fantastic. And I'm not really here to do an unboxing of this, but I do kind of want to show you some of these. Because I'm really just doing a comparison. These are really nice little miniatures, and they're all really, really fantastic. And everything kind of fits inside of a Plano box here. This is what the miniatures will look like for the collector's edition. And what you're going to see right away is that there's a spot here. Now, the original one didn't come with any kind of storage. I had to buy that Plano box. But you can see that there's a place here for each individualized miniature. one of the most impressive miniatures is going to be the bear from the original version. And here's what he will look like in the Collector's Edition. Remember, the Collector's Edition comes painted. The additional one does not. There's a little bit of girth to the Collector's Edition, which is here, just a little bit in size. Not a tremendous difference, but remember, this one came all painted. The other one was painted by ourselves, but this one was professionally painted. So if you look here, this one with the blue base is part of the original version. This one is of the Collector's Edition. They look almost exactly the same. Now, the paint job is different because this one right here was done with the Collector's Edition, and this one was done by a buddy. So you can see the little bit of a difference that you'll have there in the two sets. And finally, let's take a look at the eagles. They look to be about the same size. I don't see a whole bunch of difference in the makeup or whatever, but I do see a difference in that this one came painted and this one I had to do additionally. As for the dice, they originally came in a blue. Now they're coming in a little bit of a gray. These are much bigger. Normally, in the other set, you just got this little white one that came with it. This is much nicer dice that you're seeing in this one. This one here, as you pull it out, is going to be, instead of being blue with gray, which is a little harder to read, I think this blue pops a little bit more. But in essence, they really are the same dice. As for the components themselves, you can see that this one is a lot bigger, because the board is going to be much larger, and you're going to need a larger size to combat that. And then when you compare the size of some of these tokens, the red one is coming from the original version, and the blue one's collectors. They're going to be a lot bigger. So a lot of the things that you're going to see here are just larger, but yet the miniatures were not. And here is a little bit of the bad guys. You can see that this one right here is from the Collector's Edition, and this one right here is from the base game, keeping in mind that the Collector's Edition does come painted. This one did not. We had to paint this one ourselves, but they appear to be the same mold, and they also appear to be the same size. It is nice to have the larger tokens, the different dice, and an individualized place to put all your miniatures so you know that they're being safe inside here. I've only got so much space here I can put on the camera, so this is the original board that came with the non-Collector's Edition version of this. You can see all the places on here, and it kind of fits on the screen. This is going to be 1/4 of the Collector's Edition. You can see here there's some glossy finish on these locations here. Maybe that'll pick up on the camera. But this thing is really, really big. So this is 1/4 of what it would be. Let's fold it out just a tad here. And now we're looking at about half the size of what it would actually be, and then we're going to pull it out, and it's just going to dwarf over the original size. The map itself is the same. Once again, it's just larger, and I'll kind of set the non-Collector's Edition on top of it, and you can see, so it's up at the corner here, and this is all the additional space that you're seeing up there that it would have. I know it's not the greatest of pictures, but this thing is so massive I can't get it in all on one shot. One thing about the original game was it was sometimes tough to put all the miniatures in one spot. This absolutely allows you to have plenty of room because the miniature sizes didn't change, but the board did. So you definitely can get everything in on one section. So the question is, what would you go for? The Battle of the Five Armies, the regular version, or the Giant Collector's Edition? Now, it's kind of a decision based on income, too. And it's going to be based on what kind of discretionary income that you have. Obviously, without question, this version is better in some regards, that in the fact that it's larger and it has a carrying case for it, and the miniatures do come painted. So that is a big thing. If you're not a painter, this might be something you'd want to invest in. This one cost about $450 when it was released brand new, and probably goes for a lot more now. This one, upon release, was probably about $50, $60, $75. So there's a huge difference in price and what you're going to get. For some people, having the miniatures painted and having kind of an heirloom edition is going to be worth it. For a lot of people, this gameplay and what's involved in it will be just enough for them. I'm obviously going to keep the Collector's Edition. I prefer those kind. I think it's a very good game and one that I really enjoy and one that I'll be keeping. But if you wanted just a regular version at a cheaper price, this is definitely the way to go. Same gameplay, same fun, just about if you want the upgraded components or not.